Supernatural is one of my favorite expansions in The Sims 3, and I particularly love its witches. So I wanted to make a challenge focused on them. This is Ozz Apple who is going to be in charge of this video. My idea is to see how long it takes him to build a house starting with 0 simoleons on an empty lot and using his magic to make money. I chose his traits thinking about which ones might help. Especially Gatherer and Born Salesman, because the conversion spell gives many gems and metals. I chose Swimming in Cash as his lifetime wish because I had to choose one, but it's not important for this video. What's important is that I started this challenge using Play with Magic to gain the first point of the hidden skill. While it takes longer to level up, it uses less power to do so. Therefore his magic reserves don't run out as quickly as if he were using Ozz Apple. Ozz completely ignored the university mascot as he focused on reaching the first magic point. With this, he can now use the conversion spell, and that is what he did, turning the apple in his inventory into a spotlight mushroom. When his magic level was low, he went to the Zoom Sweeper test track to fill it again. But before getting on his broom, Ozz conjured some apples until his power was completely depleted. This way, when he steps onto the test track, the magic returns immediately instead of slowly increasing. He then went to the elixir shop next to the park to sell what he had obtained from the conversion ritual. The apples will not be sold because they will be used for the spell to get more collectibles to sell. Ozz returned to the training ground to cast apple until his power was depleted again, then to raise it by doing tricks on the broom, and finally returning home to continue using the conversion spell. If you're wondering why I'm sending him home to do this, it's because in previous playthrough, I've discovered that sometimes you cannot grab from the ground the conjured collectibles if the sim is outside the house, such as butterflies and bugs. At dusk, he headed to the fire station to eat, bathe and sleep. This will be his base of operations until he has the money to start building his house. The next day he took advantage of the facilities to practice his spells and fulfill some wishes. Then it was a repeat of the previous day, conjuring apples until his power bar was depleted, and going to the test track to fill it up. With the bar full, he practiced some spells that give more experience to grow his skill more quickly. The higher the magic skill, the better the collectibles that appear with the conversion spell. Here's an example of why it's best to perform the conversion ritual on your own lot. Even though I knew it could happen, I did it anyway because I didn't want to keep going back home. Since Ozz couldn't collect the butterfly, I had no choice but to make him cast the spell again. This makes me realize that buying a broom track is high on my list of needs. Conjure apples and cast the conversion spell can become routine and boring pretty quickly. So, in between of making money, I also have Ozz cast spells and charms on unsuspecting townies. Sometimes they're good, like the good luck charm on Bailey Swain. Other times, not so much. I have a lot of fun playing with witches. I spent the rest of the day at the summer festival. Seeing the flowers in the background and not being able to collect them gave me anxiety. That's my main way to raise money every time I start a new save. Since Ozz is in the early stages of learning how to use his magic, he often fails with his spells. As you can see here, out of 3 apples he was only able to turn 1 into a gem. Speaking of gems, I've decided to add a little rule. If I want to cut them, I'll have to do it through the mail, since I think buying the gem cutting machine would go against the spirit of the challenge. Then Ozz went to the Zoom Sweeper test track park to continue conjuring apples until he ran out of magic, then increased it by taking a broom ride and continuing to cast the conversion spell. He repeated this several times during the day until it was time to go to the elixir store to sell some of his collectibles. This will become a routine for him. The next step was to head to the fire station for a meal and a shower, while collecting the profits from the day's sales. With those profits, Ozz returned to his lot to begin building his house, prioritizing the purchase of the test track as I mentioned earlier. With the remaining money, he was able to buy everything he needed to cover his basic needs. Now he no longer needs to go to the fire station or the park, as he can do everything from home. Of course, even though his basic needs are met, Ozz still suffers the consequences of living outdoors. which added another activity to his routine: donating insects to science, since it gives a better price than selling them through inventory. As his magical skill progressed, Ozz began to achieve better results, which translated into better priced collectibles. Ozz keeps trying out the new spells he's learning. I always find the toad spell fun, and I like converting some Sims just to watch them walk down the street with that giant head. Thanks to the increase in income, the man's next big purchase was a new wand to improve his success at magic, since he still doesn't have enough points to buy the Magic Hands reward. By the weekend, Ozz had enough cut and melted collectibles to make a nice sale at the elixir shop and begin building his house. My intention is to make a starter house that has all the basic elements for a single Sim to live well. The beginning of autumn found us living in something resembling a home. Now the man can cast his spells sheltered from the outside weather. Ozz had his first kiss without my permission and off camera. He cast a love spell on himself while practicing magic, and the first person he saw after the spell was the consignment specialist. I knew this could happen, but since the girl didn't have the romantic interactions enabled, I figured she wasn't an option and he was safe talking to her. So, now Ozz has a romantic interest. I'm not complaining either because I hadn't planned anything for this. Thanks to the insects I was donating to science while Ozz was having his first kiss, I was able to start decorating the house a little. Among all the apples he turned into something more. There was one that was like winning the lottery. Tiberium. Of course, by my own self-imposed rule near the beginning of the challenge, I can't do anything with the gem until I gather about 7,000 simoleons to have it cut. I left it in a corner of the house until we can do something with it so my Sim doesn't get sick from having it in the inventory. Instead of collecting the 7,000 simoleons, I decided to spend the money I was gaining on building the house, since I felt that if I sold the Tiberium immediately, this challenge would be over very quickly and I was having a lot of fun with it. Sometimes the conversion spell gives useless things like this rainbow cookie. I used the spell on this one again and it turned into links. At least I can keep these in the fridge. My Sim was invited to a party, which for some reason had routing issues and wouldn't let him into the house where it was being held. After many attempts he managed to get in, but only when he automatically went to talk to someone inside the house. The party was so boring that I considered sending him home. But in the end I let him stay until it was over to change his routine a bit. With 2 days of sales in a row, Ozz managed to raise over 21,000 simoleons, which was enough money to finish improving the house, and to send the Tiberium 2 cut in the spire form. The money was enough not only to buy the missing furniture, but also to decorate the house both inside and out. The next day the cut Tiberium arrived in the mail along with others, and I immediately put it in the ground. Now all that's left is to wait for it to grow so we can sell it and fulfill Ozz's lifetime wish. Without the need to constantly make money, the witch spent time attending a costume party, where there were many routing issues because there were more Sims than there was room. At least he witnessed interesting things. He also went to the fall festival for fun. Fun means turning Sims into toads to complete some wishes. He also sent a love letter to his romantic interest, which although I didn't show in the video, he still flirt and kiss her when he goes to sell things at the store. It only took a day for the Tiberium to grow in size, and we made it to the consignment shop just in time to sell it before 5 p.m. Just minutes later, it was sold for more than the original price as expected, fulfilling Ozz's swimming in cash lifetime wish. I think this is a good place to end the challenge, since not only did we achieve the ultimate goal of building a house for Ozz, but we also fulfilled his wish, which wasn't a priority in this video. Something I want to tell you before ending this video is that I've played this way before and I've always been lucky enough to get a Tiberium within 3 weeks of the challenge, so I think this is one of the most direct ways to get it. If you like this way of playing, don't miss out on trying it out. And if you enjoyed the video, please leave a like and subscribe. See you next time. Bye.